this is a new but yet very old frontier, as I said, this area, Glen by the Bay at Veterans Memorial Park. Some of our great Go Green Galloway team members are here today to celebrate the completion of our Sustainable Jersey grant project and the much more that has grown out of that. I thank you for your support and hard work here on this project and everywhere that you go, Go Green Galloway. So please, members and spouses, would you stand up, please, Galloway, Go Green Galloway members and spouses? Yay, some of them are retrieving things at this time. Never stop working, I'll tell you what, never stop working. Okay, this is a little place where big dreams have been focused, ideas are being tested out, and plans are being made not only for this park, but for others throughout the Galloway and through partnerships in the region. I wish that I could have met with you during the growing season when everything was in full bloom, with the colors and magnificent and the butterflies and the moths and the bees everywhere. But now, as you look at the standing or drooping stalks of perennial pollinator plants, you are witnessing yet another season of their incredible lives. The seed heads will provide food for birds and small mammals throughout the depths of winter. The bees, they still go about their business of nectaring to build up their winter stockpiles before frost, and then burrow into the ground, some into the bark of the trees in the adjacent forest, into the stalks of plants, and into the leaf litter. Butterflies come and go on migratory journeys. Insect larvae hide everywhere, providing protein for their predators. Each dormant stalk with seed heads is part of the future of next year's pollination cycle. This only happens in a healthy native plant partnership, the whole web of life, from the microscopic flora and fauna to the most grand of plants and creatures. Speaking of partnerships, man, we've got a lot of them. I'd like to thank the Galloway Township Mayor, Council, administrators, and employees who have given us the opportunity to make this project start to bloom on this beautiful township property. Mayor Tony Coppola, Manager Chris Johansson, Public Works Director Matt Ayers, and Jordan is here today. Thank you, Jordan, and are all here today, and they have discussed and walked and worked with us to help us along. I know that it was rather cringeworthy when this field space was covered with cardboard, held down by logs and wooden pallets to smother the turf grass so we could plant here, or the huge piles of invasive plant debris that sometimes got ahead of us as we were having rambunctious work sessions. They trusted us to pursue our Sustainable Jersey grant on a piece of public property, to plan our work and to work our plan. We asked to try to save natural assets within the park and to create a place where visitors can learn about the problems of invasive plants and the value of native plants. They helped with finding some funds to bridge some cost overruns when needed. So I thank them for their continued support. At this time, I would like to invite Mayor Tony Coppola to come up and say a few words.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for having me here. First of all, Steve, I know you thanked Mayor and Council, but we should be the ones thanking you for the work that you've done here. And Steve and Barbara Fiedler, in case you don't know, have a long history with Galloway Township. Barbara worked with the township for years. She was our community, help me here for a second. It was a Chief Sustainability Officer. Thank you. I'm having a mind blank there. I saw Melanie driving away for a second. So, and Melanie needs to be recognized too because she works with the township and she wasn't recognized with the rest of the staff. But yeah, Steve and Go Green Galloway and their work in Galloway Township, their previous work with invasive species throughout our township. So when they approached us that they wanted to do a project here, it was really a no-brainer. I mean, if you could have seen this property before, it would look like it looked like over there. Yeah, exactly. It was so overgrown you couldn't even walk through it. And the volunteer hours that went into this are nothing short of remarkable. And I want to acknowledge Go Green Galloway because they're not just a social group that preaches about environmentalism. These guys they work for it. They put their money where their mouth is, and they work for everything they've ever gotten in this town. I think that Steve and I share the same vision. We want to make Galloway Township a center for ecotourism in our area. We have the Forsyth Wildlife Refuge just adjacent to us. That's been here, the Brigantine part's been here since 1939, something like that. And I think for the last 40 years, it's been part of the National Wildlife Refuge System which is a migratory route for birds that fly up and down the coast. So this area is very, very important. I think I'd be remiss, and I know that Tim's going to come up and say a few words, but I have to acknowledge the Glenn family's contribution to this property, because when Mr. and Mrs. Glenn bought this property, and then they decided years later they wanted to move on, they could have taken a number of different paths. They could have sold this to a developer, and this could be houses from Route 9 to the Bay. But they had a passion for environmentalism too. And they chose to secure this property and preserve it for years, and then took the path of selling it to Green Acres, probably at a loss to themselves. They probably could have done better selling it to a developer, but they had a vision for this property, and we're so happy that it's come full circle, and that their name now emblazons that sign that's right into the entrance here. And it will in perpetuity now, because now this land is in the New Jersey Registry of Open Space and will never be developed for housing, ever, ever. Look, we're doing a lot in Galloway Township. We're doing some very progressive things when it comes to preserving open space. We recognize that Galloway is the largest municipality in the state of New Jersey. It's 115 square miles, yet it only has, 37,000 people, 38,000? So that means most of it is this open space, this beautiful open space that we have, these wonderful marshes and farmland and other areas that we need to preserve. It's our responsibility to preserve those. And we've been doing that. We've got a gravel pit in Galloway that's been abandoned and walked away from. We've dedicated that and called it our Galloway Nature Preserve. And we're doing work with, we're putting a disc golf course in there and some other passive recreation stuff. And then as soon as these guys get a foothold here, we're going to move them over there to work on some of the invasive species. So don't rest too long. Make sure you have a good breakfast, because that part's coming. It's nice to be in politics in a small town, because I'll tell you what, you really get to work together with your neighbors to fix the problems that face you directly. We don't have to vote on those big divisive issues that separate us on a national level, right? We don't talk about politics and local politics. It's not gun control and healthcare and immigration. It's not that stuff. It's about things like this that are good for our community. Unequivocally, we all recognize that we need spaces like this. We need open space in Galloway. That's what makes Galloway unique and great. And we're happy to have Go Green and Barbara and Steve and people like the Glenn family that support that. So thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy the day.
So how did this project get off the ground anyway? Well, that brings us to our friends at the Sustainable Jersey program and the PSEG Foundation. Our grant application was called Go Native at Glen by the Bay. And we were the recipients of a $10,000 grant award, for which we are extremely grateful. With that, we have created this welcome pavilion back here with benches that are already extremely well used, I must say. They are become a meeting spot and a conversation center for a lot of folks out here. We've created space for native plant gardens, as you see over here. We've removed approximately 200 tons of invasive plant materials, created informative brochures and signage. We have led informational and botanical tours through the park with our other partners, Native Plant Society and others, and held seminars with visitor groups. I would like to recognize Caitlin Vollmer of the Grants Program, that's the Grants Program Manager of Sustainable Jersey, based at TCNJ, the College of New Jersey. Caitlin and her wonderful colleagues have been very, very patient with this project, as we have needed more time to accomplish and to reallocate budget, and things have changed within the project. So they are a wonderful organization to work with, but always together we come up with a good product. They have worked with us to get the most wrung out of our grant. And Caitlin, would you please come up and share some thoughts with us?
Hello everyone. I want to thank Steve and Barbara and everyone from Galloway for inviting me to attend your lovely ribbon cutting ceremony for the new Glen by the Bay project. Sustainable Jersey is thrilled to support this project along with the PSCG Foundation, who unfortunately wasn't able to make it here today. But I'm sure they would love to see what you've done here, and I will definitely be sending them pictures. So they'll make sure they get to see all the great work you've done. The PCG Foundation has been a longtime partner of Sustainable Jersey. We're really thankful for their support. They underwrite both our certification program and our grants program, and obviously provide the funding for this project. Over 63% of municipalities who participate in our program have received at least one grant, and at this point we have 83% of all municipalities participating in the program. Yeah, it's been a long road. Yeah, it's easy for us. We cut you a check, but you have to do all the work. So we really are thankful for Galloway and all the other municipalities and schools who have made sustainability a part of their culture, working with their towns and their officials and various partners in the community. It's so great to see how many people care about the environment and care about making things better for future generations. Galloway Township has been with us since the beginning. They were one of the first 34 towns to be certified in the Sustainable Jersey program back when we were just beginning. And they've been silver certified ever since we even made silver certification a thing. So Galloway Township is always, yeah, that is worth it. It's not easy. It's a lot of paperwork. I'm sure the Go Galloway team can tell you. But they've been leaders from the beginning. Their work has inspired so many other green teams across the state. Steve's work at the hub, the Atlantic Cape May County hub, is something to marvel at. It's so great to see that other towns are learning from the towns that have kind of blazed the trail before them. I think I saw Jesse and Jack Connor here from the Port Republic City Green Team. So I love to see that we have some good old strength in the South Jersey communities coming out and supporting each other. Galloway Township has also been very successful in the grants program. This is not their first go-around. They've received $44,000 from the Sustainable Jersey program in the past, and that's what makes it so easy to work with Steve. I know it's always going to be great. If they need more time, they can have anything, because I know in the end it's going to be an amazing project, and we're really, really excited to see how this project continues to grow. I had a great conversation with Deborah from Go Green Galloway and Anne-Marie, learning about the history of this land, just thinking about what Sustainable Jersey supports, which is sustainability in all facets, supporting people, planet, and prosperity. I look around and I can clearly see how we're helping the planet. I look at all of you and all the partners and the wonderful people who made this possible, and I can clearly see how people are involved in this project. And I cannot wait to see how this continues to increase the prosperity of Galloway Township. And I'm so glad that the mayor has the same vision, and that we're all going to be looking forward to a brighter future. So thank you again. Thank you to everyone at the township, the Go Galloway Green Team, and everyone who helped on this project. And I can't wait to take a little tour and check it out.
So, what gave this project an additional supercharge? I'll tell you what, applying for and receiving a technical assistance grant from the National Park Service and the Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance Program. We are in our third year of association with the very enthusiastic and extremely professional Julie Bell, the director in our area. Right over here. Julie brought together a team that has given us an overall blueprint and facilitated services like soil testing, plant recommendations, graphic designs for signage. She has provided actual signage like our beautiful new park sign over here, which is absolutely wonderful. First of a few, I hope. Facilitated meetings with Native American tribal leaders, arranged meetings with the State Historical Preservation Office personnel, did research and made lots of research, she did, and made suggestions on every question or challenge that we have faced in this project. I think she knows more about it than we do now, I'm not sure. Thank you, Julie, and please come up and share a few thoughts with us, okay? And our assistants in the back, please come on up.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just so impressed with all the partners that are here today and I've heard from. I actually learned a few things today, even. But I'm really delighted to be here representing the National Park Service's Northeast region to celebrate these partnerships. And the committed volunteers have made Glen by the Bay Veterans Memorial Park, what it is now, a kind of a showcase for habitat restoration in the lower Mullica watershed, which is a special significance to us because our office administers the National Wild and Scenic Rivers Program, and you're right next door to the Great Egg and the Morris Wild and Scenic Rivers. This is a very special day for all of us because it kind of culminates, it goes back more than 6 years. I think, Steve, we were talking about similar project ideas maybe 10 years ago or something, and finally we got it together in terms of how the Park Service could help with this. And so we talked about how Go Green Galloway had done all this wonderful educational outreach through Friends Along the Mullica, and raising awareness of all the special qualities of the watershed and the environmental concerns too that you all face. So here we are 6 years later from when we got involved, and you have now a wonderful community asset that is not only including active sports facilities that coexist with this beautiful pollinator garden that you see here, and all of the invasives that have been removed in the surrounding area here. I think it must be, what is it, over like a quarter or half an acre or something probably. I don't know what. It's a lot of work. And we have the first of several interpretive signs in the ground, as Steve mentioned, and we hope to get some funding for the other ones. And the scouts are like kind of walking around to show you examples of those signs at a smaller format than what we would want to produce, but just so you could get an example. And we have examples at our table over on the other side there. So it's critical because this park happens to be, a little wind action, happens to be located in a pinelands management area, and there's a pinelands wetland buffer within the park. And so working on this project has been extremely important from a kind of a critical, protection of pineland resources kind of perspective. And in addition, Go Green Galloway and its volunteers now have a storage shed so they can actually maintain this area. And of course the wonderful little tractor over there, which is, also holding up the flag. And other areas within the park. It's all a win-win for Galloway Township as well as Go Green Galloway and its partners. I'm proud to say that the National Park Service contributed to this project in several ways, and Steve has mentioned them to you. Basically trying to get additional partners and funding resources to the table, which is what we do in the Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance Program. We organize people, we get funding, we help with technical assistance in terms of conservation and outdoor recreation projects. We help local communities try to work their way through a process to get what they need, get some help. So we did that. We developed an overall concept plan. We provided funding for soil testing, and we worked with USDA on that to determine the suitability of the actual sites for habitat restoration. You all will be taking a walk, hopefully after lunch, to check it out. It's really, really great. And designing a series of interpretive panels. So we want to recognize the efforts of some of the partners who can't be here today, and helped us with an advisory group. These partners include the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service, particular Vineland and Somerset offices, because they provided not only technical assistance with the soil suitability, but they provided funding in addition for the project. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, which is a sister agency within Department of Interior, they provided plant materials and also advice on the habitat and the native vegetation. And the Xerxes Society for Invertebrate Conservation was another critical partner, providing toolkits and all kinds of advice about what to do and how to do it here. So all of these provided invaluable services, I think, to this project. I just want to mention a special acknowledgement to the 2 federally recognized Lenape tribes who still call this area their homeland, although the 2 that we worked with actually are based out in Oklahoma. And you will see that on the welcome panel over here, there is some language that's in Lenape actually, and we've also included their history in this area within the history panel that we would like to fund in the future. So we want to make sure that they are recognized. They helped us navigate the complexities of cultural resource management and protection with the New Jersey State Historic Preservation Office, as Steve mentioned. So kudos to all of you, and we're looking towards the future. We now have a great anchor here for expanding the pollinator garden concept and the watershed restoration efforts. The mayor mentioned earlier, which is really great, and I think Steve is going to be awfully busy, and his partner's awfully, awfully tired, and so this is a great start, and I just can't wait to see what happens in future years within this area and other areas within the watershed. Expecting significant inroads for all kinds of habitat restoration to happen, as well as like just getting the local residents and visitors to be very appreciative of what the special qualities are here and take care of it. So from a national perspective, just to kind of wrap this up, that for us in the National Park Service, it's just very important because it's part of a system of protected lands within the Pinelands that includes this and other local parks, as well as the National Wild and Scenic Rivers that I mentioned. And they represent extremely important drinking water supply, carbon sink, recreational opportunities, and habitat for rare species like that terrapin that's on the sign there. And each project like this helps to protect these critical resources, so it's really gratifying to recognize all the organizations and the people and you all volunteers who made this place even better. So we look forward in the National Park Service to continuing our partnerships with organizations in South Jersey and enhancing and protecting the Molucca's very outstanding water resources and natural resources in future years. So yeah, I'm very happy to see this in person. Thank you all. And Steve, I'm turning it back to you.
You mentioned the Xerces Society, named as Xerces, Xerces, named after the first known butterfly to have gone extinct. So therefore, we're all dedicated to helping more butterflies survive. The little creatures, they are the little creatures that are part of the most indispensable part of our web of life. This Xerces Society helped us by with Garden 1, which is this first section right here next to the pavilion, and that was only planted in July of last year. These perennial plants have performed spectacularly, and we have already started the process of sharing an abundance of seeds and plants with other gardeners in the area. USDA, as Julie mentioned, another fine partner, they helped us with Garden 2 down there, which was not planted until this time last year. And as well as areas further back in the park that we haven't fully accomplished yet. Both organizations have accepted our applications and awarded us grants of a total of over 1,000 perennials, shrubs, cacti, and warm season grass bunches. And they can't be here today, but I would give a great shout out to Cass Urban Mead of Xerces Society, Zachary Lenzi and Michelle Padano of USDA and their staff members. And a shout out to U.S. Fish and Wildlife from day one on this project and many others. They have been extremely helpful with hundreds of started trees and shrubs for helping to reclaim areas. They also supplied tubes and cones to help protect seedlings from the ever-present deer and other nibbling critters. We are very lucky that our New Jersey Field Station Director, Eric Schrading, lives in Galloway, and the office is here in Galloway. So how lucky can we get on that? And the excellent staff members, Mark Virgilio and Hannah Leddy, are always willing to help out. And volunteers are the lifeblood of any project. Alongside our Go Green Galloway team, we have also had the wonderful support of members of both the Absecon and Port Republic teams, so thank you so much. Stockton University has been a great source of volunteers for both physical work and also scholastic work by interns who have done research on the estuary and on the issue of native and invasive plants. Professors Emma Witt, Jason Simmons, Maritza Jaregi, Patrick Jose, and Ron Hutchison have all contributed by supporting us directly and through their students. The campus environmental groups, which I get confused sometimes, but they come out anyway, the SAVE group, the Stockton Sustainability, and I think there's one called Enville or something that's environmental group. But anyway, they come out on Sunday mornings, which is like unheard of to me when I was in college. I mean, come on. But come out here and pull plants with us and work on the project. Watershed ambassadors from the AmeriCorps program have come out to help. Each ambassador serves for 1 year. So we have had several here from not only the Mullica watershed, but from Great Egg Harbor, Barnegat Bay, Bay Shore in Cumberland County, Cape May County, and even the director of the state AmeriCorps program came down from Monmouth County one time. The Mullica Watershed Ambassadors are hosted by the Jacques Cousteau National Estuarine Research Reserve, J.C. Neer in Tuckerton, and the Rutgers University Marine Field Station, RUMPS. Ken Abel is here he was the director for many, many years. Where are you at, Ken? There he is in the back there. Both also great partner organizations. The Watershed Ambassador for WMA 15, which is the Great Egg Harbor River, is based at ACUA, the Atlantic County Utilities Authority, another fine partner to this and many other projects. As I mentioned, the fellow with the camera is Darren Ferguson over here, the photographer, videographer for this region of the National Park Service. Doing a great job. We shared a nice sunrise this morning. Another videographer, I don't think he made it here, my brother Martin. Now, we have some folks here who are quite familiar with this place in a very personal way. We have Anne Marie Glenn here today. Is that dramatic enough? Did I make that dramatic? I really think it is dramatic. And her son Tim Glenn is here today. And members of their family are here as well. Anne Marie and her late husband Tom lived here and loved the natural qualities of this place. Tim and his late sister Carrie got to appreciate the wildlife and the fun of this homestead. Tim still participates in turtle releases, and I got to get in on one the other day, which is really, really, really cool. Out where the meadow meets the water, working along with Stockton University students and faculty who rescue eggs from roadkill turtles, incubate them in the Stockton lab, and then release them. The Glenn Family Foundation has become a partner to what Go Green Galloway is doing here, and their financial support will bring more sustainability and stability for the work that we are trying to do at this park, along with township resources. We are very grateful for this support, and this has also jump-started a nonprofit entity to care for the park in the future called Friends of the Glen. We hope to use this as a donation portal so that many generations can come to learn and play and exercise at Glen by the Bay at Veterans Memorial Park. I would like to invite Tim and his mom, if she would like, to come up and say a few words.
Welcome everybody to Glen by the Bay at Veterans Memorial Park. Thank you all for coming. Special thank you to Tony Coppola and his team, and thank you so much for your support, the support of Galloway Township, to keep this open to the public. Special thank you to Steve Fiedler and Barbara Fiedler. Her nickname is Chainsaw Barb, who she had a lot to do with a lot of the heavy work that went on around here. And as you heard, they removed over 200 tons of invasive species and plant materials from this property, which we didn't even know was here. I remember when Dad called me, I was a senior in college, and it was probably 85, 86, and he said that, you know, he and Mom were looking at this property on the border of Absecon in Galloway that was about 42 acres, a home, a barn, and riparian rights out to Reed's Bay. And at that time, we lived in Linwood, And I grew up in Linwood. And I love the town. We live there now, and I really, it was almost an even swap for our place in Linwood to purchase this place. And Dad said, "What do you think? You're really attached to Linwood?" And I said, "I love Linwood." I said, "You're crazy if you don't take this opportunity." And thank goodness they did. I remember the first time I came to visit Mom and Dad once they moved in, and I had a chance to, take a walk in the back, and I saw deer, foxes, red-tailed hawks. We could hear owls at night, birds everywhere. It was a paradise. After graduated from college and working for a couple years up in North Jersey, and I live in Glens Falls and then Livingston, New Jersey, I took a job with the family agency, Glen Insurance, and Absecon, and I moved in with Mom and Dad. And I had that chance to really enjoy this amazing property. This became the central hub for our family. Mom and Dad had an open door, and there was always someone coming up and down the driveway, and it was a place for all of us to gather and enjoy. They did have a pool here. Obviously greenheads can be a problem sometimes back here. We all know that, but it was just a special, special place. Mom and Dad loved sharing this land, and they never wanted to see it developed. Once they reached the point where they decided that Dad had projects. They were doing stuff in the barn. They had bird feeders. They had numerous purple martin houses. There were colonies of purple martins flying around here. And Dad really enjoyed mowing the front property in his tractor with his Sony Walkman, and he would, from here all the way up, he would mow, and then the rest he would have other people take care of when he had the chance if he couldn't do it. As Mom and Dad aged a little and they wanted to downsize, they approached my sister first, and then they approached my wife and I to see if we wanted to purchase this property from them and live here. And we were already in Linwood and enjoying that neighborhood, and it was in raising a young family, and it was really something that we weren't ready to grab onto. And thank goodness, and my sister was the same. She lived in Upper Township raising her family. And fortunately, my dad was good friends with the since passed and retired Atlantic County Executive Richard Dick Squires. And he was also good friends with the current county executive, Denny Levinson. And they together orchestrated the sale to Green Acres. And then you fast forward to today. Yesterday would have been my dad's 90th birthday. So today, that makes today a real special day for all of us. And thank you, everybody, for all the work that you've done and everybody for coming out. I'd like to make a special thank you to my mom. Your generosity and foresight to preserve this amazing property and to share this special place with everyone. Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you.
One other aspect of this project I just want to mention real quick, and not that I'm in love with this tractor, but we have made a concerted effort purposefully to use battery technology for the tool fleet of this project. I think it's important, and a lot of towns are looking at this around the state. I know Sustainable Jersey and Anjec have made inroads in that regard. I parked the battery tractor mower out here that has been modified to also hold a battery-powered water tank, so I can get around the park and water the young seedlings and things that need watering. But all of our chainsaws, pole saws, drills, drivers, grinders, leaf blowers, all battery-powered. This is definitely a consideration for a more sustainable landscaping and a welcome change, I'm sure, particularly for over 55 communities and most all neighborhoods, actually, to have less noisy, less smelly, less everything footprint. So see me later if you want to sit or talk about the tractor. So now the big finish before we can have some lunch. And then if anyone would like to do a 1 mile hike of the place with us, please, after lunch, we'll get together and do that. We need to cut the ribbon, though, to signify the completion of the Go Native at Glen by the Bay grant with Sustainable Jersey. So if you all don't mind, please come on over to the front of the pavilion there, and a few of us, I'm not sure who, but we'll queue up to cut the ribbon. Well, thank you for Sustainable Jersey for helping us to build this lovely pavilion and garden complex here. Thank you so much. One more time.
Sharpen those things.
I didn't get a chance to. Ready? Go!
Glen by the Bay at Veterans Memorial Park was made possible by the following: Glen Family Foundation, Go Green Galloway, Galloway Township, Stockton University, Sustainable Jersey, the Native Plant Society of New Jersey, Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissions, Xerces Society, Jacques Cousteau National Estuarine Research Reserve, U.S. Department of Agriculture Natural Resources Conservation Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and the National Park Service Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance Program. Photos and video footage were provided by the following: Barbara and Steve Fiedler of Go Green Galloway, and Julie Bell and Darren Ferguson of the National Park Service's Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance Program.